I love the remoteness, and I actually really like the harshness of it. I love driving down the centre of town, and you've got the green median strip and you've got the boabs in flower, and it's just beautiful, and I love that. And I love the sunsets that we get out over the marsh, and just the feeling of remoteness, and it gives me a sense of calm, and that's what I like about the Kimberley.
It's a good place, nice and comfortable, plenty of fresh air, plenty of water. We don't have water problems, we don't have air pollution problems, we don't have traffic problems, and there's plenty of enterprise and plenty of employment opportunities around the place.
You can see the brothers dancing out on the open plains. You can melt in the burning sun if you don't hide under a shady tree.
It's a very easy town to get into. There's a shortage of skilled workers and businesses of professional calibre. There's a lot of growth. There's the housing is booming. Derby is going through a little boom at the moment, not to mention Fitzroy Crossing, Halls Creek and all the communities in between. The growth is huge, so there's always something to do, and the business is bigger and better, as big as I want to make it.
There's heaps of opportunities in Derby for business, and I could run off about 30 or so, but there's so many, and a lot of us have actually talked about businesses that would be successful in this town. There are so many that there's not enough of us to actually run them, and I can think of so many that I would love to do, but you can only really take on one opportunity. But I think if you are wanting to set up a business in Derby, or set up a business at all, then this is a great place to start for anyone.
I think Derby's a land of opportunity. I think if anyone's prepared to put in an effort, I think the community here is prepared to support them. And I think that you can give something a go here. Derby seems to be growing and getting a whole heap of new businesses, which is fantastic for the town, and it'll bring more services for the people here.
Derby's got a very, very positive outlook at the moment with mining and gas. It's been there for a long time, but it's with the resource boom, it's looking good. It's attracting big interest, big money, and that just flows on to the smaller punters.
The main activity at the wharf at the moment is in relation to mining companies which are opening operations on Coolin Island out at the mouth of King Sound, and there's also a mining operation on Cockatoo Island as well. Barges come into Derby and take equipment, supplies and fuel out to those mining operations. The wharf is also used by barges that take fuel out to the pearl farms out in King Sound, and also we have an aquaculture operation up at Cone Bay, which is again in King Sound. So all of those operations are serviced from Derby.
I think the situation of Derby in recent times has changed for a number of reasons. People obviously got a lot more confidence in the town. That's ultimately due to the mining industry and the resource boom.
The Wandjina image that you see here at Mowanjum, that the people believe that the first Wandjinas came from the Milky Way, gave the people the law and cultures to follow and control the weather. Some Wandjinas have gone back to the Milky Way and the people look up at the stars at night and imagine that they're there, but other Wandjinas are still here in cloud form and bring the monsoon every year. The way that this place is going to be going into the future is going to be tourism. We're expecting to get up to 20,000 visitors a year. Everyone that goes up the Gibb River Road should be calling into the Mowanjum Art Centre and having a wonderful time here with the gallery, the museum, the theatre, and the wonderful attractions outside, which will feature concerts and outside display areas. I think there's going to be a twofold positive effect with this venture. It's going to be wonderful for visitors to Derby, and it's going to stimulate the economy. It's probably going to be the #1 tourist icon in the Kimberley, but also it's going to have an educational effect on the people of the community, and their living standards are going to lift, and it's going to make Derby a wonderful place to live.
As I walk around this town, faces tell the story of the years. Good times and bad times, horror tales of blood, sweat and tears. Hoof-trodden floodplains reflect the heat, chase away the clouds. Monsoon comes and washes everything that's left on the dry, dusty ground. Down the Fitzroy Delta to the muddy waters of King Sound.
I love living in a small town. Everybody knows everybody else. We've got a really good network here in amongst the community, and especially with the mums, because we don't have our extended families here. So I rely on my friends basically to get me through difficult times, or like if I'm sick, I've actually had friends come over and pick up my kids, and they've taken them for the day while I've been sick, or they've dropped meals off, or you know, we just have that network available.
I like living in Derby and I like eating nuts.
I think Derby's a great place to bring up kids because they've still got freedom up here, and I'm not scared to actually let the kids ride their bikes to school, or you know, it's just a much better environment, I think, than down in the city. I mean, it gets bloody hot, but you know, they can cope with that. They love it. So, and we do a lot of camping and fishing and take the kids out, and yeah, I don't think they miss out on anything living up here. There's playgroup, there's a toy library up here. The hospital is great. I had Grace in Derby Hospital, and the facilities there were fantastic, and I knew all the midwives. You know, they really looked after us.
I absolutely love Derby, and I really believe the reason why I love it is because you have got this friendship in this town that is just, you can't really explain. It's a feeling that is just incredible.
I think it's like being in a big family. So
yeah,
people look out for each other. Even though you might not know someone's name, you know their face, you say hello down the street. Everyone smiles at each other and waves as you're driving around, so yeah.
I love being known, whether that's a good or a bad thing. Some people love you, some people hate you when you're in business, but that's part of business, and I like being able to go down to the shops and have a yarn while I'm down there. When you go to the city, it's something you miss because you're just another number and just another person.
I think Derby captures the essence of the Kimberley. It's a straight up honest town with a strong sense of community.
Being in a small town like Derby, you've got something on every night that you can participate in, and you actually go out and do more than you would do if you were living in the city. Like you might find yourself at an art auction one night, you might find yourself at a quiz night for the next night, or it could be a wine tasting on another night.
If you want to give to a community, then this is the town to be, because people really encourage it. So if you've got an idea, people are supportive towards it, instead of, I suppose, being in an environment in a city where you might have an idea but you don't feel like you've really succeeded with it. But here in Derby, everyone gives you a pat on the back and says, good on you, thank you for doing this for our town, we really appreciate it.
Derby's tucked away, it's a little backwater of the Kimberley, but the people here are fantastic, and all the facilities that that are offered by major towns in Australia here in Derby. It's got a beautiful golf course, fantastic fishing. You've got Broome just down the road, so it's a great place to be.
I'd so much rather live up here. I really feel the facilities are fantastic. I can walk into the hospital down there with one of my kids with a fever and I'll get seen straight away. They look after you there. I don't have to wait in a queue, and I don't have to spend 40 minutes driving to work and back in a city. And I know everybody that walks up and down this street, and I feel safe, you know, I feel like my kids are safe. So I just love that small town community feel, and I wouldn't go back to the city for quids. Absolutely no way.